안녕하세요. 자, in this session, I want to talk about the differences between 은, 는, and 이가. So you must be familiar with 은, 는 by now. So do you remember the sentence like 저는 한국 사람이에요. 저는 1학년이에요. Something like that. So when you talk about yourself, you use 저는. You started a sentence with 저는. Let's talk about your friend Steve. So your imaginary friend Steve. So Steve. So you are talking about him by marking this. 스티브는 and he is American. 미국 사람이에요. Do you remember I just mentioned 은는 is a topic particle. Topic particle. 스티브는 미국 사람이에요. Its meaning is something like you are introducing Steve. So I'm talking about Steve, and as for him, he is American. Something like that meaning. Actually, we can just replace with one of these, particles. 스티브. And take a look at the last syllable of this noun, and there is no consonant here. When there's no consonant, you choose something starting with consonant. 스티브가 미국 사람이에요. And these two sentences have the exactly same meaning. Steve is American. Steve is American. But there is something different between these two sentences. Just 는 and 가, right? Yeah, 가. Then there must be some difference. What is 이 or 가? They are the same thing, but you choose one of them depending on this situation, this condition. If there's no consonant, you choose 가. If there is a consonant, then you choose 이. And this is so-called a subject particle. You know what subject means in language? So subject, object, verb. When you talk about grammar, you say subject, subject of a sentence. So Steve is American. Steve is American. Same. Then what's the difference? When you say topic, that is a kind of just concept. Like you are putting a little more focus on that. Or when you talk about something, the big topic is Steve. So you can say like this when you introduce Steve. I'm talking about Steve. You just put a little more focus on that meaning. I'm talking about Steve by putting this 는. I'm still talking about Steve, and as for him, he is American. But in second sentence, there's no such meaning. Just Steve is American. It is not easy to distinguish when we have to use 은는, when we have to use 이가. It's totally depending on the context and the speaker's intention. If you want to put focus on Steve more, everybody is talking, and now I want to get everybody's attention and to introduce Steve. Hello, everyone. I'm talking about my friend Steve. He is American and he is my friend. In that case, I would repeat, 스티브는 미국 사람이에요. Steve is my friend. 스티브는 제 친구예요. So I'll talk in that way. But when I just simply say the nationality of Steve, then maybe I'll just say 스티브가 미국 사람이에요. So without context, we cannot say which one is right. But one thing clear is there is no meaning difference between them. 스티브는 미국 사람이에요. 스티브가 미국 사람이에요. This is just grammatical marker. This is the subject of this sentence. So it's not easy to explain the differences between 은는 and 이가. But there are some occasions 이가 is more frequently used. Something like this. Have we learned any WH word, the question word, like 뭐, what, 그렇죠? And place, where, 어디, where. When you use, so we have more WH words, we will learn more later, but let me just talk about these two. When you have more or 어디 or other question word in a sentence, it is more likely to use 이가 in a sentence. Like you want to ask someone's name. So how do you ask that? 이름이 뭐예요? So what is your name? So in this sentence we have this 뭐. So because of this 뭐, it is more frequently used to use 이 instead of 이름은 뭐예요? There might be a certain occasion, to use 은는 is more appropriate, but generally speaking, 이름이 뭐예요 is more frequently used. And you want to know the location of the library. Then, how do you ask the question? 도서관. 도서관이 어디에 있어요? 도서관은 어디에 있어요? That is fine, but it is more common to say if you just ask the location of 도서관 library, then you may want to say 도서관이 어디에 있어요? Well, like this. Okay, let me just make this simple. 은는 and 이가, there's no meaning difference between them. You can just replace, in many occasions, you can replace 은는 with 이가. That's fine. There's no meaning difference. But when you want to introduce something or someone, when you introduce yourself, it is much better to say 저는 한국 사람이에요. 저는 college student, 대학생이에요. Something like that. We don't say 제가 한국 사람이에요. 제가 대학생이에요. It is totally understandable but less appropriate. Okay, so don't worry about the differences between 은는 and 이가 at this point. Just try to follow what is in the textbook. So in the textbook, when someone is introducing themselves, they may use more 은는. Then, when you introduce yourself or when you introduce your friend, then try to use 은는. And with WH word, 이름이 뭐예요? Then just try to say 이름이 뭐예요? 도서관이 어디에 있어요? Like this. You will learn about the differences, as you learn more. Okay. Okay, 감사합니다, 여러분. Then see you next time. 감사합니다.